There is a place, not here or there, but somewhere in between. There is a space in the thin air that really can be seen. If you listen and observe, you may be surprised. Some may call it Camelot or even paradise. Some may say you cross a bridge, others through a door. But all I know about this place is that I call it Evermore. Evermore. Good evening, sweet spirits. Welcome to the show. My name is Suzanne Sorrell, and I'm the host and producer of the Evermore Paranormal Network. On this episode, we have a special guest. Please welcome James McCann to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you for coming. I've been looking so forward to talking to you about all the things you do in the paranormal field.
That sounds great.
So let's get started.
Okay.
So, how long have you been a paranormal investigator, researcher, and where are you based out of?
I've been paranormal investigating for about 20 years, and I'm based out of Erie, Pennsylvania. Independent.
You're independent. I know. I'm kind of that way too. I have a team, but really it's just me and dragging my husband along on everything. So, tell me about your fascination with Gudgeonville or Girard, Pennsylvania, and the documentary that you did and starred in that's called "There's Nobody at the Bridge."
Okay, Gudgeonville used to be a historic bridge. It was a landmark, over 100 years old. It's known for being haunted. Some of the stories one is of the mule, okay? They say the mule haunts the bridge because what happened is there used to be a circus that came to town, and when it was coming up through the old Erie Canal, you can hear the calliope, or the organ type thing. And the old man was taking the mule to Meadville, Pennsylvania, and when the mule heard the organ, he fell to his death. Fell to his death right there in the middle of the bridge. So they say that he haunts it. But on a more factual note, okay, there were 3 actual deaths around that area. There was one death in 1955, a girl falling off a 225-foot cliff. There was another girl that fell off the same cliff in 1964. And then there was a young man, he was 15 years old, and for some reason they really don't know what happened to him. They just knew that he was supposed to meet up with some friends, and he never met up with the friends, and then two days later they found his body. So
wow, so there's 3 documented deaths?
Yes. And
the mule?
Yes.
Now, do they hear the mule? I know I've heard these stories before because we've talked before on another show. Yeah. Does anybody ever hear the mule, like sounds or anything like that?
In the old bridge, I would say yes. People would say they would hear clacking of the hooves and things like that. Yeah. But then again, there's sometimes natural occurrences that, as a paranormal investigator, you have to look into this stuff. And some of the more natural things that it was is there used to be loose boards in the bridge. And when the wind went through, clack, 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 clack. So that was a more natural, explanation for stuff. But then again, there were instances where people say they actually heard hoofs, and there was no wind. And I kind of believe that because me and my buddy had an experience like that when we were out there investigating one night.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if you would hear, the different kinds of paranormal activity you would experience. So you made a documentary about it, and is it still available to to watch,
Yes,
to buy, or whatever?
it's still available. However, now it's on YouTube. You can
okay.
search "There's Nobody at the Bridge," and it'll take you to the link, and you can watch it there.
Okay, well, I did watch it for our last show, and I told you it was great. I loved it. It was just really interesting. It kept me, watching it all the way to the end to find out why there's nobody at the bridge.
Thank
I love
you.
the title. And so I see that you also were started another documentary in 2010 called Ghost of Fire.
Yeah, that was.
What's that about?
That was about Centralia, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. I want to get there.
Basically a ghost town that is burning from underneath because of a coal vein caught fire. And it's still burning today because they can't get it out.
Wow. Did you produce that? Or,
No, I didn't.
but were you like the host, or
I
how
was
were
just
you
one
part-
of the people that were in it.
Were in it? Yeah, sounds like a really great. I've been wanting to get there to Centralia. Are people still go there? Are they allowed? I know they're not really supposed to go there. They don't want people to.
For a while there, it was okay. Yeah, the last time I was there, they had put no trespassing signs up. So the cause of the no trespassing signs were a lot of, I would say, graffiti, garbage being strewn around,
Oh yeah.
and see that they don't have like really anybody to take care of the place. It was eminent domain, you know. So it's just basically a ghost town. There's one church on the hill, Russian Orthodox Church, 5 cemeteries.
5 cemeteries.
And that was the whole concept behind Ghost of Fire, was the fact that the fire could burn for 1,000 years, and it might consume one day the cemeteries, and there's no real inkling to relocate,
Oh, that's sad.
the bodies,
So you were also on an episode of My Ghost Story. I didn't know about that. So what were you talking about?
Well, my ghost story was basically about my experience that I had while we were filming Ghost of Fire.
Oh, really?
And what a lot of people don't know is that my family is actually from Centralia in a little town called Branchdale. And I was born in Pottsville. It's all in the same area. And my grandmother and grandfather were from Centralia, as well as my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather. So I was going up to film Ghost of Fire, and I knew I had an idea that they were buried in the cemetery where the church is up on the hill. And I didn't know exactly where, and I was thinking to myself, wow, this is going to be a hard stone to find, because I'm thinking, well, maybe it's so old that the names are etched off, from the weather and stuff like that. And we were filming Ghost of Fire the one night, and there's a stairway that goes up to the cemetery. Well, I was walking up, and I was standing on the stairway, and I was just like thinking to myself, oh man, again, this is going to be hard to find this headstone. And then right at that moment, I heard a disembodied voice, a woman's voice, say, "Look up."
Wow.
And I looked up, and just like, how the hair raises up on your hairs when you
getting that right now. You're telling me the story.
When you have a paranormal experience. And I looked up, and I'm looking right at their headstone. Huge shock, Milo and I can't remember her name.
Well, I want to. Do you know where that story is? It on YouTube to watch? Is there a way to watch that? I'd love to see your episode.
You'd probably have to maybe try and search, because I know it was being rerun on the Travel Channel.
Yeah.
I'd say probably maybe a year ago, but I don't know if they're still doing that show.
I'll check it out.
But you'd probably have to maybe search the show to see if they still have links up. But
I'll look. And I see that you are also on a show called Eerie Extreme. You're a regular on that.
yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, Erie Extreme is actually a fishing show. Yeah, you know, that's what people are probably thinking.
Right.
You know, what's a fishing show?
Do you
have to do?
fish?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But anyway, that came about. David Fieber, he's a pro fisherman out of Erie, and he got a hold of me, and he wanted to do for Halloween, you know, a Halloween episode, and my name came up, and he called me, and I said, yeah, sure, you know, we'll do it. So we did an episode, and it went off so well that, you know, sometimes he has me back now to do paranormal episodes. So that's how that goes.
Well, that's great. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, okay? So we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Welcome back. I'm talking to James McCann. James, I always ask my guests if they're a skeptic or believer, and why, if you're a skeptic or believer.
How would I say, I'm respectfully skeptic. I am open-minded. I do know and understand that there are, you know, rational answers for things through, you know, exploration, stuff like that. But yeah, I would say respectfully skeptic.
Yeah, I think that's actually the best answer. I mean, you have somebody that's totally skeptic or somebody that believes everything. You know, you're open-minded to consider it. You're not, you know, saying that's not real. You know, you're like you said, respectfully skeptic.
Yeah, and
I think that's good.
skepticism is the essence of science.
Ah, okay. Well, that's good too, because I mean, you're talking about fog and so on, and you can't just say, "Oh, that's, you know, everything you see is something." Maybe it isn't this time.
Exactly.
You know, so you got to keep that skepticism alive, I guess you could say. So, what is your favorite thing about ghost hunting and the paranormal field?
I think my favorite thing is the exploration. You know, the not knowing sometimes, and then getting something, you know, that's paranormal, that you believe is paranormal. For example, in the photos, and things that just happen, you know, that you can't explain. You
It's
try,
exciting, right?
but you can't, you know.
But we know, at least I know, as a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, a lot of times we're just sitting around waiting on something to happen and nothing's happening. So you got to be patient, right?
Yeah, a lot of patience.
A lot of patience, number one quality. So what is your least favorite thing about ghost hunting in the paranormal field?
I would say over-skepticism, over-analyzing. I would say that.
People being really critical of everything and not considering that maybe this is something.
Yeah.
I know. And like we were talking earlier, I know I've discovered a couple portals, but there are people that do not believe in portals, and that, you know, even my husband I have to convince. He's like, I don't know. And I'm being really careful before I release the information, release the video, because I know there's going to be a ton of people that are going to, this is nothing. You're just seeing things.
Yeah.
And I believe I'm seeing something, but I want to be able to have, you know, all my ducks in a row, and like I can counter all the criticism that's going to come out.
And see, sometimes I think that the over-skepticism really isn't necessary, because the proof's right in front of you, but you just don't want to believe it, even if you have something really good, you know?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to believe it, so what can you do?
Well, I've been sitting on evidence for about 3 years now, still trying to decide is the world ready for this kind of thing? And, you know, if you put something out there and you really get ripped apart, and somebody says, oh, that's nothing, are they going to believe you next time you put something out? So I'm being really careful about, you know, putting something out.
That's the way I am with my photos, you know? Is people ready for this? Probably not.
Right, they're not.
You know? Their egos are going to get in the way too.
Right, right.
So,
You know
that's
that.
being honest.
Yeah, I know how that is in this field. That's another one of my least favorite things about the paranormal field.
People are jealous of other people.
Definitely, a lot of competition. I just think this is a topic that involves everyone. We should all be kind of working together
Right.
and supporting each other, and not, who's going to get it first and who's going to get the credit and all that kind of thing.
That's why I'm independent.
I know. I really don't have a team anymore, so there you go. So we got to take another break, okay? We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm talking to James McCann about, this time, some of his paranormal experiences. So, James, what was your first paranormal experience?
My first paranormal experience, oh boy, I would say I'd have to go back to my childhood. But to be honest, at the age I was, real young, about 6 or 7, I wouldn't really remember it as a paranormal experience. But it was based off my uncle. He passed away, and I had a dream that he was coming to me in the dreams, and then whenever I'd go to his house, I'd feel, he used to chew tobacco, so I would smell the odor of tobacco, and that was kind of the experience.
And that was pretty early on to be to smell it, and then you didn't. Did you put 2 and 2 together that was Uncle so and so?
Not till I was like probably 17 or 18 years old.
Yeah, and now you're going, that might have been Uncle.
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam. Did Uncle Sam come around since then? Have you had any experiences, dreams, or anything that you smelling that?
No.
No?
No.
So that was your earliest one. So, what was your scariest paranormal experience, or do you even have one? Some people say, I don't get scared.
I don't. I think people get scared. I would say, on my behalf, I get more startled than scared, because you're not expecting things sometimes. But I would say the most startled I'd ever gotten was at the Gudgeonville Bridge, walking up to the bridge, and calling out a name that somebody told me to say, Derek, and then I heard in my ear, "What do you want?" Disembodied voice, clear as day. "What do you want?" And that's when I first started getting into the paranormal, and it kind of it startles you, whoa.
Were you by yourself?
I was with somebody else, but I was by myself when I walked up there to the entrance of the bridge.
And I was going to ask, that experience, that was pretty amazing. Did it have that is when you got more into going to the bridge?
Yeah.
So it had an impact on you?
Yeah, so I was like more drawn into the bridge.
Definitely.
After that.
When he said, "What do you want?" did you answer?
No, I ran to my car.
You ran to your car. See, he was scared. See, some people get scared. I've been scared so bad on numerous occasions where my husband and I have gone, and I won't get into the incident because we're talking about your experiences, but to the point that I went home that night and I was thinking of quitting the paranormal.
Right.
I'm like, I'm too close. I'm too close to this, and it's getting kind of dangerous. I know too much.
Right.
And so I've thought about quitting many times, and then I get up the next day and go, can't quit, So I understand that. How about your most profound or life-changing? I bet I know what that's going to be.
Yeah, the threes.
Right. Tell me about that your near-death experience, right?
Yeah, a near-death experience. Let me start with the threes.
Yes, definitely.
It was 2007. I captured three lights on video, infrared video, and they kind of changed my life in a way that I always tell this story of threes. And how it happens is you have 2007, okay? We're doing a show called the Erie Horror Fest. And it was a Thursday night going into Friday morning, and I was going to bed. And right when I was going to bed, I was laying my head down on a pillow, and I heard a woman's voice say to me, "It's going to happen outside." So I'm like, okay, I get up, turn the lights on, what's going to happen outside? I don't know. So the next day I go down to the Horror Fest. I'm telling the people in my group at the time what happened. They heard this voice, it's going to say it's going to happen outside. So next day comes around Saturday. Nothing happens. I'm thinking, well, maybe something's going to happen to me. I don't know. So Sunday comes around, and all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and people start running outside where we were having this horror festival at. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to see what's going on out here. So I ran out, and coming down the road was a progression for the Lady of Fatima with a big statue of the Blessed Mother. Now, I'm Catholic, so you know what I'm thinking. So right as it gets center to me, the hair raises up on my arms and back of my neck, and it like clicked in my mind that, wow, that's what's supposed to happen outside.
Wow.
So now, every time something happens with me, it happens in threes. And I remember lecturing at one point, okay? And it didn't dawn on me till I finished the lecture. Something just was there. And basically what happens is you have 2007, okay? You have, it was August of 2007, okay? So you had August, September, October, November. September, October, November. Anyway, it comes out to 3 months, okay?
Right.
And then you have 3 days, and then 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It all happens in a sequence of 3. So that's how things happen to me sometimes now, is in threes, you know?
Right.
And I remember when I had my heart attack, I remember hearing a woman's voice. It's always this woman, you know, and I remember, you know, her saying, "It's going to be okay, feed the people."
Oh, really?
So I'm like, okay, well, all right.
So, are you feeding the people? That's what I was going to say.
I think that's the message from me
Yeah?
to people out there. You know, I'm feeding you.
Oh,
possible.
info. Okay,
Yeah.
I was thinking actually feed them maybe, you know.
Well, to believe too.
To feed yes, to help.
Even
right.
with the photos.
Yeah, it's a calling, I believe, and you're hearing it. You're actually hearing this. And you said you don't know who the woman is, you don't recognize the voice. Does it sound...
It's a calm voice. Calm and firm.
voice.
Calm and firm.
Okay.
Yeah, I could say something, but people probably think I'm loco.
Mary, you think it's Mary?
Yeah.
Hey, I have some photos where I swear I have God's hands. Real, you can see the hands. Lifting my mother up in one of these portals. And I told my husband, I said, it's God's hands. And he's like, you're going to have a hard time proving that it's God's hands. But you know what? I believe it was God's hands.
I believe that to be true, because I actually have a photo that looks like a sleeve and an arm like this. And then it has a face up against the thing. I'll have to show you that.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, what we get, and I think it's a calling for both of us to continue to do what we do, share the information. Whoever believes, believes.
Right.
We know what we believe.
Right.
We're okay with it. I mean, I already believe myself, but I really, it's my goal that for others to believe.
Right.
And that's my mission.
Right.
You can't make anybody believe.
Nope.
No, you just...
Believers and non-believers.
That's right. So this experience obviously had an impact on you for sure.
Oh, yes.
And it probably, the near-death experience and the story you're telling me, you know, it changes your life forever.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you know, I had a near-death experience also, and it changed my life.
And I think what's interesting also is that some people will tell you that when you do have a near-death experience, when you come back, you're more apt to the other side.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of marked. Now they recognize us.
Right.
You know, when I almost drowned, I feel like a door opened or cracked, and they saw me, and I saw things as well. I don't like to say what I saw because it wasn't good. And that's why I am who I am, because I'm so afraid of what I saw. But yeah, we do. And I think, I don't know about you, I guess you are. You're psychic. You have psychic abilities. You probably wouldn't call yourself a psychic.
Exactly. I
don't call myself a psychic either, but the stuff that we experience are abilities. So I think that this has been a really interesting episode, and thank you for coming. Tell me about what you have planned in 2021.
2021, maybe some new lectures, or maybe coming up, maybe get out to some more events if I can.
I hope so. I hope so.
And like I said, I got a secret project going, so.
Okay, he's going to have to tell us. He's going to come back to tell us. I have a friend of mine that comes, Herman, the Paranormal Man. Every time he's got a new book or some new project, he comes and talks about it. So I hope you'll come back and talk to us about it once it's out there for the public.
He might be involved.
Oh, he might be involved. Okay, well, I'm going to have to pump him. So also, where can people find out more about you on social media?
I'm on Facebook. I don't have an actual web page or Instagram. You can find me there. Just look up APG ECP, a paranormal group, Erie County, PA, or just my name, James McCann.
Well, thanks again for coming, James.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Please come back. I know you weren't too thrilled with the traffic around here, but hey, you'll get used to it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a good time.
Thank you. So thank you for watching the Evermore Paranormal Network. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until next time, just remember, life goes on. So in the end, what have I said is only that I'm sure. For all I know about this place is that I call it Evermore.